Hey friends, I'm here to talk to you about why I'm not freaking out about the state of education in the United States. And let me preface this by saying I understand that there's a lot to freak out about. Totally get it. If you're on one side, you're freaking out over one thing. If you're on the other side, you're freaking out over something else. I totally get it. First thing to remember is freaking out never solves anything. It actually makes you less able to deal with the situation that if it's worth freaking out about, that means you really need to be ready to deal with it, right? And freaking out actually puts you into a tailspin spiral, into a rabbit hole. How many metaphors can I use? Basically, complete desperation. And we don't need that, right? You don't need that. Your kids don't need that. Nobody needs that. The world doesn't need that. The world needs us to actually get really smart and make good decisions. And so I just want to talk about what that looks like on a personal level. And I know a lot of people would say, oh, well, she doesn't have to worry about it. She's a homeschool mom. I do have to worry about it. I care about your kids too. I mean, I spend 16 hours a day building a platform so that your kids can have what I built for my kids. That's because I know that the world that we are moving into depends greatly on your kids and my kids. One way that I think that we can look at this is as an opportunity. And I know that, please, no hate. I'm not saying it's a good thing what's happening, okay? I think there are a lot of bad things happening. I don't choose to look at good or bad though. I choose to look at, okay, what can I do with this? Like what's the best path forward? And I personally feel like that's how everyone should look at everything, because honestly, it's the most productive way to look at things. So here's how I propose we look at this. So that we don't freak out, let's look at this as an opportunity. How can we take from the rubble, let's be the phoenix, and from the burning ashes and rubble, become this beautiful, beautiful new creature that, let's save the world is what I'm trying to say. How do we do that? I think that the best path forward is one where we innovate, where we come together and innovate, each bringing our own specific talents, and we create what we would have wanted, say, the Department of Education. It was not perfect, okay? This is a lot of the reason why I homeschooled. The Department of Education did not have it down. I'm not saying that destroying it is the right way to do things. I personally would take a more strategic approach, not the stomping on sandcastles approach, but we come together and decide what we want the future to look like for education. And a lot of people say, well, that's totally impossible. I don't think it is. I mean, I'm trying to do it, my husband and I, all on our own, trying to build the future of education. That's two people spending pretty much the entire day, every day, 7 days a week, all the time, every day of the year, trying to do it. But that's kind of what it takes when you have two people trying to do something that big. But imagine if you and your friends and your friends' friends, if we all got together and took our energy and created something better than what was, and could look back on this and say, that was a total trash move, but look what we did with it. Because I think that the biggest thing that we need to teach our kids is resilience and how to respond to a situation when it is presented to you, especially when it's one that on the face looks really trash. Just not a very exciting experience. Well, okay, well then what can I do with that? What can I make out of that? How can I make this better? That's the number one question. How can I make this better? And then number two, what I would say, and I say this one a lot, get busy living or get busy dying. I don't quote many movies, but I do quote that one because it's true. We could wallow in fear and anger and hatred and all these ugly words. We could wallow in it all day long. We could totally do that. You and I could just totally ruin ourselves and our children's lives by just being very upset. Or, because that's get busy dying, okay, I don't do that. I can't do that. Get busy living looks like what I'm talking about. We choose the path we want forward. So, what are we going to do?